everything to play for in match 64 of the league phase of IPL 2022. The Delhi Capitals and the Punjab Kings are locked on points. Only one of those two teams can get to 16. 16 being what we think is the magic number that will allow for a playoff position. We have to keep an eye on other results, yes, but if the Capitals win too, it's in their hands. They will go through. If Punjab Kings upset them, then there are all sorts of permutations and combinations still possible. But it is a cracker of a game to look forward to on a Monday evening on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout, powered by IQ 9 5G. Toss has already gone down at the DY Patil Stadium, and we need a power-packed panel for a game like this. So Sanjay Manjrekar is here, and so too is Piyush Chawla, because the rest of our power-packed panel was not available. No, sorry, but I must say
completely. My confidence was like rising, and it's all diffused now.
no,
Flat.
I wanted a last minute twist in the tail to ask you if we are going
You
to see
find it very difficult to praise from the bottom of your
that
heart.
is how my growth at Cricket Info has been. Nobody praises me only. Anyway, I will praise you. I've got you back for that reason. This is a big one, and there's an excitement to this kind of game. We need a game with something on the line, and today there is quite a bit on the line.
Yeah, that's one thing. The team that wins today has a great chance to make it into the final four. But you said power pack, panel with the experts. But there's going to be a lot of power in this particular match. I'm really excited with the kind of batters both sides have. If Delhi have Warner, Mitchell Marsh, and Rishabh Pant, then Punjab have Liam Livingston, who is batting superbly, and Johnny Best, who got some runs in the last game. So there's some power there as well. So this is going to be fun. And let's hope it's one of those high-scoring matches where 200 runs are scored by either side, and we see those 112-meter sixes. So, important game, but let it also be spectacular game to watch and enjoy.
We want that. We really want that. I was a bit bored with the games yesterday, Piyush. Chennai and Gujarat, God knows what they were doing. Even in the evening, then Lucknow had disappointed me. But you feel like when there's more on the line in a game and you know that your playoff position is dependent on these last couple of games, does that somewhere also make us, make us see a different kind of performance from players, even though they may say it's just another game?
No, it does play in your mind because when you start the tournament, you aim to make it to the first four to start with, and when this is a kind of game where it's like a do or die situation, so obviously you put everything on the line and you make sure you do give your more than 100% and do something special for the team.
Is it also the kind of game where coaches' jobs are at stake, Piyush? Is it fair to say?
Well, obviously, if team makes it to the playoff, so they obviously get that extended 1 year or 2 years contract. So it's like a big game for everyone, not only for the players, even for the support staff, even the people working behind the scene, which we don't even see it in the dugout, but there are a lot of people who are working behind the scenes. So it eventually comes to this stage where they just want to make it to the top four, and after that they just see how it goes from there. So this game definitely holds that kind of an excitement for both the teams and even for the viewers as well.
Yeah, you think that there's a lot riding on this. If you make the playoffs, everything before that tends to be forgiven. If you don't make the playoffs, and this time there are more teams that won't make it than will, and there could be all sorts of ramifications for your support staff. Now, the toss becomes important in a pressure game, and the toss has gone Mayank Agarwal's way, someone who is disappointed often at not winning the amount of tosses he'd like. He has curiously chosen to bowl first, something that Rishabh Pant also said that he would have liked to do. This is a team, Sanjay, that came at the back of arguably their best batting performance, with Bairstow and Livingston firing, getting 200 plus against a strong RCB attack. Just trying to think if they would have been tempted to bat first, but they've liked to maybe lose a toss. What do you make of Mayank wanting to bowl in this sort of game?
I think both teams have taken a proper cricketing decision. They've had a look at the pitch. I think what's happening now with all the ground, the soil is getting dry, so they're ensuring they're keeping a bit of grass. So there is a grass covering, but the soil underneath is a bit dry. Mayank Agarwal said the last time they were there was some dew. But, stats tell you that 11 time batting first teams have won in the last 15 games. That's an overwhelming stat. But this is where, I love, players who stick to cricketing logic. What they've seen today is that there is more of a case to, chase by the old adage of chasing down runs. And the thing is that if you bat first, you've got to get at least 165 to win. So that's the added pressure. Both teams have the kind of batting lineup to chase down anything. So they've gone, this is also the pressure of getting into the final four. Yes. They've gone with traditional logic and the advantage that you may get with Dew.
I wonder if, Piyush, this might be a good toss to lose as well. If we look at the DY Patil of late, last game we saw there was Delhi chasing against Rajasthan, where we know it was a tricky chase. They chased 161 with a lot of wickets in hand, but we know that wasn't as easy. But for Marsh and Warner, before that, Chennai beat Delhi at the DY batting first. You had Kolkata beating Mumbai batting first. Could this be a good result for Rishabh Pant, even though he said he would have bowled first too?
Well, definitely, because in these tricky situations, I always say it's better to lose a toss because leave it in the other's hand what he's gonna decide. And when you come to these kind of games, like pressure games, so if you're batting first also, it's always good to put some, score on the board and put the team under the pump because if you get 170, 175 plus on these kind of tricky situation, so it becomes, added pressure on the other team, like who's chasing. And if you get couple of wickets up front, so it becomes even more difficult. So as I always say, if you score 175, so it's almost 9 runs per over, and you get couple of wickets up front, the asking run rate automatically goes 10, 10.5, and it's not easy for the new batter just to come and start taking the scoreboard and get play those big shot because anyone who comes in he wants to take his time, and by the time you take that time, you end up that asking run rate goes somewhere around 11, so it becomes little tricky at that time.
Sanjay?
Also, another reason I believe I'm trying to read into that decision at the toss is the batting depth of both sides. When you look at the number of batters there, I'm also looking at Shardul Thakur as a batter who will contribute with the bat. He's batting at number 8 for Delhi. Rashid Dhawan has played a few innings. He's batting at number 8. So I guess somewhere they have the confidence that even if it's 180 to chase, we have enough batting, not just quality, there's depth as well. So maybe that also gave them the confidence to, chase down the target in a crunch game.
It is a decision that the Punjab Kings have gone with, that they will add more batting, and they have stuck with it. It's an unchanged team from the one that beat Bangalore in quite emphatic fashion, with Johnny Bairstow firing at the top and then Liam Livingstone making it a complete batting first performance, getting them to over 200. And that is the point Sanjay Manjrekar makes, with Harpreet Brar still in the team, that Rishi Dhawan is the man who's slotted in at 8. Even Kagishwar Rabada can hold a bat at 9. Rahul Chahar has hit some boundaries too. So we have quite the batting heavy Punjab Kings here. The only question that would have been from that last win, Piyush, was Harpreet Brar seemed to come in for Sandeep Sharma as a tactical call. Would you have been tempted to go back to that, or do you think this is the better Punjab team with Brar in it?
Well, if you look at the matches, like the wicket has become a little slower, and Harpreet is somebody who doesn't turn the ball much, but he doesn't give that pace also to the batter. And mind you that this DY Patil is a big ground, so it's not that easy to clear the boundaries if you're not giving the pace to the batter. So I think Harpreet Brar should stay in, and if he can get you like a couple of good wickets, nothing like it then.
Happy with that call?
Yes, and he is a player that I like. Never bowls badly, also contributes with the bat. And as Piyush said, finger spinners now being used more and more. We saw Sai Kishore as well bowl. So the other thing is Kuldeep Yadav, the other spinner, is likely to be somebody who might not bowl the 4 overs. So you would want to also, beg your pardon, Kuldeep Yadav is
For
playing
the
for
Delhi
Delhi.
Capitals, yes.
So yes. So
Between Rishi Dhawan and Harpreet Brar, I think the point
let
is
me
made.
rejig and
Yes.
rewind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Harpreet Brar, yeah, that got Piyush laughing there. Nice. So Harpreet Brar is somebody, if the pitch, we talked about the dry soil, if it just grips for the spinner, I think it will make a difference. Plus, 2 good spinners, 2 guys that can bowl in the depth. I like this bowling combination.
Very well. When you started about Harpreet Brar, you said he's a player you like. Does that make me believe there are lots of other players that you don't like? Because I've not seen you.
There are a lot of players I don't like. And there are a lot of players who don't like me as well.
So this is a left-arm spinner who Sanjay Manjrekar likes. Let's put it that way. Right. Anyway.
I like low-profile, simple cricketers who don't quite get the attention.
You would love Piyush Chawla and me then. We are as...
No, Piyush Chawla is not a low-profile player. He's a star. You are slightly low.
Okay, I'm not low profile.
But I stay very low profile, Sanjay bhai.
See, so nice that is. Anyway, good. Now let us get back to the lineups, shall we? And the Delhi Capitals have given us something to talk about. They have made a couple of changes. The return of Sarfaraz Khan, is that where he'll bat? Is the big question. Will he open with David Warner? Sarfaraz has batted 3, he's batted 6, he's been pushed down and not batted. and he is back now in a crunch game after they've tried Mandeep Singh, they've tried Sarfaraz, Ripal Patel, and KS Bharat. They've gone back to the Mumbai batter. Khalil Ahmed is also back after a hamstring niggle, seems to be playing the odd and even game, and Chetan Sakaria, in spite of how well he played in that last game, finds himself out at the expense of Khalil. Let me start with the bowling call, Piyush. Sakaria put in a really good shift in the absence of Khalil. He got Josh Butler, seems a really good bowler whenever they call him on, but is it fair to say that Khalil would reclaim his place if he's fit?
Yeah, because if you see the fast bowling unit of Delhi team, so Khalil is the one who was the pick of the bowler. So I think automatically he's automatic choice once he's fit. Like with all credit goes to Chetan Sakaria, he bowled really well, but you can't help it because Khalil bowled really well. So I think Khalil is the right choice here.
And what about the return of Sarfaraz Khan? How do we
I've
make sense
always
of that?
felt that he's got a bit of a raw deal for all franchises that he's played. He's always gone in and got you 15, 20 runs. And even after a good 20, a cameo, he's been left out. Bharat was used at the top of the order. Prithvi Shaw is somebody that
They're missing.
sorely missing. Although, there's some form coming through Mitchell Marsh. I'd be tempted, actually, to bat somebody like a Shardul Thakur up the order because I've seen Sarfaraz Khan at the under-19 level, at the IPL level. I've never seen him open the innings. Is somebody who will bat at number 4 and 5, good against spinners. So that's a call they could take and keep Sarfaraz in his comfort zone. Unless Sarfaraz is opening, well, that's going to be interesting to see if that happens.
Well, it's great that we'll find out just before we go off air as to who comes out to open. But let me see if Piyush is entertaining that left field call, that out-of-the-box suggestion from Sanjay. Piyush, Shardul to open, or do you see Sarfaraz just as a like-for-like for Bharat?
Well, I think I'll go with Sarfaraz only because he's a pure batter and playing a new ball is an art in itself. And I'm sure Sanjay Bhai will agree with that because I'm sure Shardul must have not played much of new ball even in the nets. I think you should send one main batter to bat because if you send Shardul and you just tell him to, go all out and you end up losing one wicket and you followed it by one more. So unnecessarily you'll be putting pressure on the team.
Can I make
Yes.
my case stronger without getting into
why
a
not?
debate?
Why not?
Shardul Thakur, we've seen at the test level, even in swinging English conditions, he can play pace bowling pretty well, and that's the reason he won't be like a fish out of water at the top of the order. Plus, I'd like to keep Sarfaraz Khan in a comfort zone. This guy doesn't get too many games. He bats at number 4 and 5, so push him somewhere in that slot, and that would be the way I would go. But there's a good chance that Sarfaraz will open with Warner.
All right. What about a player who's taken the captain's liking, Piyush? Lalit Yadav, who Rishabh Pant seems to have a lot of faith in. What are the chances that Lalit Yadav could go up? Because he's done pretty much nothing in the middle order with the exception of the first game where he had Akshar Patel and Shardul Thakur to thank for that chase against Mumbai. What about Lalit at the top?
Well, whenever Delhi was in dilemma, they just send Lalit Yadav. So here is another one more, confusion going on. So you never know. You might see Lalit Yadav walking in with David Warner. But as of now, it looks like maybe they'll go with Sarfaraz because he has batted at number 3 also. So he'll go with, most likely, I think he'll open the inning. But I 100% agree with the Sanjay Manjrekar sir because, because he has not this thing. What do you call? He is not. You don't want to just pull him out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, I guess.
But if he's batted in number 3, which I
Sarfaraz,
didn't know,
yes.
Sarfaraz, then opening is not that big a transition.
I mean, he does bat
So
there
in the end, we are
first-class
agreeing
cricket.
with each other after disagreeing
But
initially.
that's not an
This is
amicable
called the power
partnership.
panel
I-
that you've got.
There I got confused where I mixed Hindi and English.
Yeah. That's okay. It's fine. Hindi chalega thoda sa.
Yeah, I'm mixed players. You mix Hindi and English.
Yeah. Now, what do I mix? Let me see. No, nothing. Anyway, no. My larger question on this, Piyush, is a team who is winning, who's not yet won 2, but making a call in a must-win game to change the team at the basis of a player who himself has failed previously. There's a reason Sarfaraz went out, Mandeep went out. Now, what sort of rationale do you think a captain uses here where he says, okay, let's bring Sarfaraz back? He's already seen Sarfaraz, he's seen Mandeep. Could they have even gone with Yash Dul if you wanted to just throw in a unknown element and say, fine, we have nothing to lose, play there. But why do you think they've gone back to a Sarfaraz?
Well, what I feel personally in these kind of game where it's like a do or die situation, you want to back the experience. And Sarfaraz is somebody who's in the scene for last 5-6 years, and he has played in IPL matches. although he has not opened, but still he has got that experience. He can handle those, you know, nervous situations. So I think that could be the only reason that they got Sarfraz back in.
Yeah, that's a very good point. You want to bank on experience, and I'm a little skeptical about Sarfraz being a failure. We've seen a lot of obvious failures who keep getting innings after innings and fail. But Sarfraz, if you look innings by innings, he hasn't done too badly. He's never got a long rope. In fact, his most surprising exclusion was when he was playing for RCB, where he got a couple of very good cameos, and I guess his fitness was the reason that he was left out. For Punjab Kings as well. Not enough games. So he's somebody who deserves the kind of backing that Kuldeep Yadav has got for Delhi.
Okay, fair enough. We'll find out in about 10 minutes who walks out with David Warner. All suspense building up till then. But the challenge would be for whoever comes up to come up against an informed Kagiso Rabada and his partnership with Arshdeep Singh, where Arshdeep may not be getting a lot of wickets, but between the two of them, they are quite the force for the Punjab Kings. This is Rabada's 2022 season. He's got 21 wickets, which basically is at the back of 3 excellent seasons out of 4. Purple cap holder in 2020 with 30 wickets for the Delhi Capitals, season where they reached the final. And he continues to impress even for his new franchise. Seems to also be bowling at different phases as we just look at how Punjab Kings have used him as against how Delhi used him, Sanjay, in previous editions. He's bowling a lot more in the power play. You think Punjab have found the best use of Rabada?
I'm not sure I have the most affirmative answer to this. Rabada has been a class act, and the last season when we saw him bowl, he is a bit like KL Rahul. If his tail is up, he's fired up, then he delivers. And I think this season something's gone right where he's been used optimally. Yeah. He's flown under the radar a little bit, but the numbers speak for themselves. Plus, the choices that they have, there's only Arshdeep and him who can bowl in the death. So somewhere I think there's role clarity as well.
Delhi had Avesh as well as Anrik Nortje in their better years, in those years we're talking about Piyush. Rabada's role seemed to be middle to death. Somewhere did that sort of diffuse Rabada, even though he ended up with wickets. We didn't think he had the kind of impact or say early on in the game. Do you think this season he's having more of a say?
Well, the way he started off this season also, he looked a bit off color, but after that, the way he came back, he looked pretty good, and he has done the job for the team. Like he bowled couple of overs or sometime 1 over in power play, and then in between when captain needed him to break the partnership, he got him to bowl, and then in slog, obviously we know that's his speciality. He has done for the other teams also, like when he played for Delhi. So I think he has done a decent job for the team, and the way he has come and took the responsibility and leading that pack of fast bowlers, he has done a pretty good job.
As we look at that partnership with Arshdeep Singh, you will see that they keep batters quiet. Arshdeep does the job of keeping them really quiet. 7.1, I think, is the best economy rate for anyone who's bowled that sort of that amount in this year's IPL. And Rabada is getting the wickets on the other hand, reaping rewards. You wouldn't mind going at 9s if you're getting as many wickets as Rabada is. So that's a formidable combination for Delhi to counter today. But we should also spend some time on spin. We've got Piyush Chawla here as well, and we are seeing spin let's just say become less of an impact or have less of an impact as the tournament gets deeper, especially for these two teams. Let's start with Rahul Chahar, who will be bowling first now that Mayank Agarwal has won the toss. Just the 4 wickets in the last 5 matches. Economy has gone on the higher side too. Piyush, we're just looking at more and more spinners who aren't quite having the wicket-taking impact that they were earlier. We're going to look at Kuldeep and Akshar's numbers shortly as well. But Rahul Chahar, any reason why he's gone a bit off the colour?
Well, the way he started off pretty well, as you can see in the record. But now, if you talk about the last few games, he's somebody who likes the pace from the wicket, but which he's not getting because the wicket has become slower as the tournament progressed. So the ball which he generally bowls at a normal length and which, it's not that easy for the batsman to play those cut short, pull shots. But here, because that, hint of a slowness in the wicket, they are able to play those shots. So I think that's the reason. For that, I think he needs to, pitch it little up so that he can draw the batsman forward and it becomes little difficult for the batters then.
Funny, proper leg spinner and is not enjoying slower pitches.
Yeah, but slow pitches, a lot of spinners don't enjoy, especially, guys who lack the natural sort of zip and the strength to be slow in the air and quick off the pitch, even on slow pitches. You'll find Kuldeep Yadav as well. When the pitch gets slow, even if it's turning, if it's slow, it doesn't help Kuldeep Yadav. Ashwin is another guy who doesn't enjoy slow turners. Jadeja in test matches is a guy who will bowl well, on slow turners because he's so strong and quick in the air. So that's the adjustment Rahul Chahar will have to make, get it fuller, Kuldeep Yadav too. But then the danger lies of you being in the slot and it's either a six or a wicket.
Yeah, I mean, Delhi have similar sort of problems with their spin attack, just as we look at how their what their impact has been from the first six to the next. They picked up 20 wickets in the first 6 matches. They bowled a lot more overs too, and now they've just picked up 6 in the next 6. Economies on the higher side. We break that down. Kuldeep Yadav, Akshar Patel will feature in that list. Well, you can ignore Lalit Yadav. He's only a part-time off spinner. But Akshar, with 15 overs, has just got the 1 wicket so far. Just wonder why Akshar's gone off Piyush. He seems to be such an efficient IPL bowler. Bowls in the power play when needed, bowls fairly tightly. He's having more off games than on, fair to say, this season?
Yeah, if you talk about this season, he didn't have that kind of season what you generally expect from Akshay Patel. And what I personally feel the reason could be that he's somebody who's not a big spinner of a ball, who really relies on the wicket. And in Bombay, we have seen there's not much of a help for the spinners. It does get slower, but it's not there that help. And when they started off the tournament, it's even difficult for the spinner because you had to bowl a little slower and get the zip off the surface. But he just comes and bowl with one pace, and he doesn't have that many variations. It's just the straighter one and one that going away from the right hand a little bit. That too is not a big turner. So that could be the reason that he's just struggling a bit in this season because all the games are in Bombay and the wickets were like really good.
Sanjay, anything to add on Akshar Patel?
Confidence down as well. Akshar Patel, we've seen him over the years. We've never seen him be erratic with line and length. And we've seen some poor deliveries bowl. We were watching a game together and there were some balls that were really out there to be hit right under the bat, and there were some that were very short. And Piyush is right. The memory that I have of Akshar Patel in test matches is out bowling Ravichandran Ashwin on ranked turners. So if it's a ranked turner, then Akshar Patel prevails. Good pitches, he struggles a little bit, but he's a much better bowler than what we're seeing this time around. So it has to be with confidence. And maybe it happens for somebody who's been bowling all these years that there had to be one season where his control has gone down a little bit.
All right, fair enough. Let's see if they find them out on an important game today. But before we speak more about bowling, let's focus on the threat of David Warner, because this is now the David Warner of the IPL greatness club that he deservedly forms a part of. He's got 427 runs this season, average of 61, strike rate of 153, and he's playing the kind of innings we've seen Warner play at his prime. If there's any doubt, Sanjay, as to what kind of Warner we'll expect after he's had that fallout with Sunrisers, he's still certainly got it.
Even then, I'm not saying this after the event, wiser after the event. Even then, I thought it was an aberration because David Warner's fitness, his ski, his batting, he was getting out for Sunrisers Hyderabad, but you weren't seeing any kind of, batting deterioration. And I've always maintained, and now maybe he's not even arguably the best IPL batter over the years, foreign especially. His consistency has been incredible. He's one of the only few batters who can bat in different gears. We saw in the last game, Mitchell Marsh was going hell for leather, and David Warner sort of just reined himself in, remained not out, saw his team through. I mean, those numbers are outstanding. This player is outstanding.
Now, let me throw some interesting facts to both of you, Piyush and Sanjay. Sarfaraz Khan has walked out with David Warner. We expected that, Piyush. Liam Livingston has been given the new ball. Now, let's try and make sense of that, right? Piyush?
Well, see, if you ask me personally, I've bowled first over a lot of time in IPL and in T20 game. So first over is the easiest one to bowl, to be very honest, because the batsman was trying to get his eye in. And when you see a part-timer, and Liam Livingston is little better than a part-timer the way he bowls, so batsman might think that, okay, we can take a chance and we can, get a good start, like 10, 12 runs in the first over. So there's always a chance of picking up wicket also. So it's just like a risk factor, because if you talk about Sarfaraz, he hardly played like so many games, so he'll be like little bit under the pump. And if you talk about David Warner on the other hand, he's somebody who looks to play a long inning. So I don't think so that early on in his inning he's gonna take those chances. And If he does, then there's always a positive side to it for Punjab that he might end up getting out. Unless he gets like a really bad ball, like a full toss or a long hop, so only then he'll take chance. Otherwise, he'll just play off the first over.
Gone.
So that's like a good move, I can say.
Okay, Sanjay Manjrekar's excitement comes at the fact of the first ball of the game has had a massive say, where Livingston, with a lovely off spinner, has dismissed David Warner. Sanjay.
See, last game as well, they started off with spin. Harpreet Brar bowled the first over for Punjab. But now, because David Warner is there, they couldn't bowl a left-arm spinner. And Liam Livingston was given that one over that he bowls every inning. But smart from Liam Livingston, he bowled an off-spinner to David Warner.
Yeah,
the bounce did the trick, bit of turn as well.
Yeah, we know he's got that skill, bowls both off and leg spin at will. But you see Piyush's point there that Warner sees perhaps the part-timer and wants to play a big shot first ball.
But that's Warner. I mean, he'll keep taking risks. Most of the time it comes off because he has the ability, but you don't see him being safe whenever he's batting. Even when he's trying to anchor the innings or play a long innings, he's never playing safely. So, yeah, this is wonderful for Punjab. Great start.
Mitchell Marsh has walked out sooner than he liked, this time at the expense of David Warner, not to join him as he did in the last game. Nice to see that both these teams also have worn black armbands, I'm sure as a mark of respect for the Simons family. This cricketing world still recovers from the tragic loss of Andrew Simons yesterday. But now that we do have the knowledge that Warner's been dismissed first ball, let's ask Sanjay Manjrekar and Piyush Chawla for a first innings prediction. I'm sure that could affect your prediction for the first innings. Piyush, now that Warner's gone, how much do you think Delhi will get?
On 65.
Sanjay?
Around the same, because I don't trust Mitchell Marsh's form, whether it's going to carry on.
Okay, we'll find out. We'll find out if he can make it 2 great innings in a row. Delhi certainly needed now that Warner's gone. We'll pick up the chat at halftime on Maruti Suzuki Presents ESPN Cricket for T20 Timeout powered by IQ 95G. Before I leave you, have a look at the new line that you need to get creative about in the IQ ESPN Cricket for Biggest Fan Challenge. It's your chance to feature on our live show and interact with one of our guests. Sanjay Manjrekar did that with our winner last week. And all you need to do is answer the following in 6 words or less. Watching a cricket match live at the stadium is like, and
Watching
get creative.
Is how you complete it.
Very nice. That would not get you a chance to win our IQ ESPN Cricket for Biggest Fan Challenge. Just see what you've got there. Hashtag IQ, hashtag ESPN Cricket for, hashtag Biggest Fan Challenge. And you stand to win if your answers are good. Let's join the chat in on an important game after the Delhi Capitals innings. See you there.